in Lancaster City. It's July 5th, 2012. It's a pretty interesting day. It's an anniversary of some sorts. Now, right around this area, right up here, the exact address has long ago been torn down, so the building doesn't exist anymore, but there was a man named Enos Sheaffer. Enos Sheaffer lived right up around this stretch, and I want to tell you where I'm at. I'm close to the McCaskey High School. There's Dolly's Laundry, and somewhere in this general neighborhood, but probably somewhere where these gaps are, that's where Enos Sheaffer lived. Now, July 5th, 1938, Enos Sheaffer became the first person that we know of that was arrested for the crime of, quote, marijuana. Enos Sheaffer was 81 years old on that day when he was arrested. 81 years old. Can you imagine arresting an 81-year-old man on the day after the celebration of the independence of our nation, July 4th holiday? Well, the police were doing an investigation into the, quote, marijuana problem in Lancaster City. At that time, they said it was really taking hold, and a lot of people in Lancaster were smoking marijuana, so they decided to do an investigation. An informant told them that Enos Sheaffer was growing the plant in his backyard. So, undercover agents in plain clothes went to Enos Sheaffer's property, and they couldn't find him. Enos Sheaffer wasn't there, so they immediately started tearing up the plants out of his garden. He had a long strip of hemp growing along his garden. So they went to find Enos Sheaffer. They left a few plants there, and they went and found him about a block away, they said, in a local tavern. So Enos Sheaffer went there, and or they went to get Enos Sheaffer. They said, "Are you Enos Sheaffer?" He said, "Yeah, well, that's me." And they said, "We just saw somebody in your backyard making away with all your plants." And Enos Sheaffer said, "Really?" He looked alarmed, and he jumped up out of his chair, and he followed the undercover officers to Enos Sheaffer's property. He went to the backyard. They saw the plants that had been unearthed, and along with the plants that remained, and they said, "Are these your plants?" And he said, "Well, yeah, they're mine." And he was immediately placed under arrest and taken to the Lancaster County prison. Now, Enos Sheaffer admitted that he was growing the plant, but as far as he was concerned, he was growing hemp. He said he had no idea that it was illegal. As far as he was concerned, he was growing hemp, and he was growing it for seeds for his chickens to eat, which was legitimate use for the hemp plant. It was used quite widely. Now, Enos Sheaffer, back where I just was, in his old neighborhood by the McCaskey High School there, he grew up there. He was 81 years old. So in his lifetime, he would have been familiar with hemp since his boyhood days. If he was 81 in the 1830s, I mean the 1930s, that means he was born in, do the math, 1850s, 1860s. He would have seen hemp growing all over the place in his boyhood days. And just about, maybe a quarter of a mile away from his house, over in King Street, was a big rope walk owned by George Martin, the Martin Rope Walk, and that was in operation for many years. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, for over a century. They made hemp rope from the locally grown crop, because hemp was growing here all over Lancaster County in great abundance. Between 1720 and 1870, we had over 100 water-powered mills for processing hemp fiber just in Lancaster County alone, and there were dozens more in all the surrounding counties. Now, That hemp was the #1 fiber in homespun clothing. It was used for Conestoga wagon covers. It was sent down to Philadelphia to be made into canvas for sailcloth for the great sailing ships. Every ship that sailed to sea took over 60 tons of hemp fiber for the big, thick anchor cables, all the rope rigging, the canvas sails. And all that hemp had to be replaced every couple of years, which ensured an enormous and insatiable demand for hemp from the interior of Pennsylvania. So, it was this huge crop, and Enos Sheaffer was aware of it, and he was involved in the culture of hemp from his boyhood days. And they chose him, of all people, to arrest. On July 5th, 1938, Enos Sheaffer became the first victim in Lancaster County to these ridiculous, immoral, and insane laws against the cannabis hemp plant. Now, was Enos using it just to feed his chickens, or was the old guy smoking it? Well, that we don't have any proof either way. We only have Enos's word for it, and I believe that he was probably growing hemp. Wouldn't you agree? Because he wasn't the only one, guaranteed. And the investigations went on further in the 1930s because it was part of a national effort. They said in the 1930s there was an epidemic of marijuana smoking. They estimated that in 1937, when the federal law was passed against marijuana, they estimated that there were 100,000 people smoking marijuana. Now, after 75 years of prohibition and spending tens and tens of billions of dollars, maybe hundreds of billions of dollars to imprison over 20 million people who have done a collective over 20 million years in prison. Think about that collective human suffering and misery and treasury wasted on trying to repress this plant. But after all that, they managed to get those numbers down from 100,000 down to about 60 to 80 million people who have at least tried the plant, with another 20 to 30 million people who are regular users, and maybe 10 to 20 million people who are daily users of the plant. So we see that our efforts have failed, but in Enos Sheaffer's name and his honor, on this day, July 5th, 2012, the 74-year anniversary of the arrest of Enos Sheaffer, we say, for you, Enos, we're going to keep working, and we're never going to stop until justice is done. Thank you, Enos Sheaffer. Which is, I should mention, a little Sheaffer connection. Years later, we had a popular Republican governor of Pennsylvania named Governor Raymond Sheaffer. And in 1971, he was put in charge of Nixon's Sheaffer Commission, which did a report and was supposed to issue recommendations on what to do with the marijuana problem. Sheaffer, at his guidance, his commission came to the conclusion that it was not a problem that was worthy of jail time, and we should look into decriminalizing the plant once again, if not outright legalization. Nixon, of course, disregarded the Sheaffer Commission report and went full speed ahead on the war on drugs, and set the stages to where now we're arresting 850,000 people a year for marijuana. It's just not right. Now, also, in, I believe it was year 1999 or 2000, Governor Ed Sheaffer of North Dakota became the first governor in the country to pass pro-hemp legislation that will allow farmers to grow hemp again. We need to do that in Pennsylvania. We need to do it in New Jersey and Maryland and New York and everywhere else. Why should the East Coast be so backwards? Oregon, you got the OCTA campaign. Look into that. We're doing a lot. And by the way, this video is getting a little long, but I'm gonna go back this road again. This is one of my favorite roads. Just a beautiful place. If you watch my other videos, you know how much I love Lancaster County. I love living here. It's one of the most ultimate places to live in terms of quality of life. We're going to keep working for hemp, and we got a good shot. There's no place better to grow hemp in the world than Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Look at this beautiful, beautiful farmland. You can tell the corn's coming up from the last video. Remember that video I did a couple months ago? I called it Ron Paul Can't Win. This is where I was. I was right here. If you compare the videos, you'll see that corn's coming up. Look at this beautiful, beautiful landscape. Oh my gosh, it's so picture perfect, so postcard perfect. Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. I wish you all could be here with me, but then again, that's not an invitation because we're trying to save the farmland. We don't want to get it developed, so don't everybody come here. But come here to visit, spend your money here, and you'll see what I'm talking about once you get here. Just never seen a place more beautiful than Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. So peace. I'm Les Stark, and I'm the author of the book Hempstone Heritage. I pulled off the legendary stunt of getting my book to Mitt Romney a few weeks ago. I encourage everybody to check out my video, Mitt Romney Learns About Hemp, Pennsylvania, and click on the link below so you can find out how you can buy my book, Hempstone Heritage, a book about the history of the hemp industry in Lancaster County. Help me, join my battle, join with other brave patriots like Sean Patrick House and John Dvorak and Manitoba and Vote Hemp, Tom Murphy, all these great freedom fighters who are going to save the earth. And thanks a lot. It's 2012. If you made it to the end of this video, thanks for hearing me out. Peace.